private sector jobs report from ADP adding to concerns that tomorrow's weekly unemployment data and Friday's May employment numbers are going to show a very weak economy.
And ouch, our next guest says the situation might be even worse than it looks now, and it won't get any better if we count on the government to solve the problem. Best-selling author and personal finance guru Larry Winget joining us now. Okay, you say don't lean on the government to solve the problem. What will solve the problem, Larry?
Taking responsibility is the answer to almost all problems, and it's certainly the case with American business. We need to take responsibility and stop laying the blame on the government. Things are tough out there, and what people need to do is suck it up and figure out what it takes to survive. They need to be reminded that it's called survival of the fittest for a reason, and the reason many companies are not doing well is they're simply not very fit. Leaders need to step back in and remember it's about profitability. Only two ways to impact profitability, and that's either you got to decrease your expenses or increase your income. And you have to focus on what you can do to do both of those if you can.
Well, we have the president going to Detroit on Friday to tout the success from his perspective of the auto bailouts. And if things continue to deteriorate, if things in the economy continue to go south, we may see some other calls for other bailouts for other companies. What happens then?
It's a bad idea. And, you know, I know you're not for bailouts. I just listened to you. Work that guy over. And I'm not for bailouts either. I really do. I get hired every day by Fortune 500 companies and by associations representing small businesses to talk to them about these very things. We need to remind companies that they've got to do what it takes in order to survive on their own and stop blaming the government or relying on the government, which means you have to get back to basics. The things we need to do are, first of all, cut expenses, which means you have to look at your biggest expense line item, which are people. Every company has employees who are not pulling their weight. And when an employee costs you more than their value, you have to get rid of them. Now, it means you're going to add to the unemployment numbers, but the good news is there's a big pool of people out there that you can hire that are going to be willing to do whatever it takes.
Okay.
Then you have to increase income.
Larry, when a lot of CEOs from big companies, we just had Heinz on today, and Mr. Johnson came on and said, well, the government could help by giving us better tax structures. Is that depending on the government?
Well, you know, that would be great. But when people are really in survival mode, like a lot of businesses are, we don't have time to wait for that. It's not going to happen tomorrow.
True.
So what can you do today? And companies have to stop looking at tomorrow and down the road on what the government might or might not do and start relying on themselves.
Larry, we only have 10 seconds. Is the economy getting a lot worse than it is now?
I'm not sure it's getting a lot worse, but I don't think it's getting a lot better.
Larry Winget.
Your shirts are always getting better, Larry.
They are.
Thank you.
See you later, Larry. Thank you.
Thanks, Larry. Good to see you, Larry.